Imagine this. You wake up one morning, reach for a glass of water, and suddenly notice your grip is weaker than yesterday. Your hand trembles as you try to lift it. A simple walk to the kitchen feels like a climb up a steep hill. For many adults over 60, this frightening moment doesn't come from a heart attack or a stroke. It begins silently with your muscles slowly wasting away, even though you've been eating enough protein. The shocking truth is that your body isn't absorbing that protein as effectively as before. And the hidden culprit is not the food itself, but a mineral deficiency that most seniors don't even realize they have. As a neurologist, I've seen countless patients bewildered by this very problem. They say, "Doctor, I eat chicken, fish, even beans every day. Why am I still getting weaker?" The answer lies in the way aging changes how your body processes nutrients. After 60, without a steady supply of key minerals, your ability to break down and use protein declines sharply. That means every bite of nutritious food you eat could be going to waste. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Today I'm going to walk you through 9 essential minerals that determine how well your body absorbs protein after 60, and the frightening consequences when they are missing. You might assume that eating enough protein, chicken, eggs, beans, or even a protein shake is enough to keep your muscles strong after 60. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Even when your intake looks perfect, your body simply cannot use that protein as efficiently as it once did. This phenomenon is known as anabolic resistance, and it's one of the most frustrating parts of aging. By the time you reach your 60s, your muscle cells don't respond to dietary protein the way they did in your 30s or 40s. What used to build strength now barely maintains what you already have. The mainstream medical fact is, clear studies show that seniors often require 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal, almost double what younger adults need to trigger the same muscle-building response. Yet many older adults don't increase their intake believing that their usual diet is enough. Even worse, they may not realize that without the right minerals to support protein metabolism, their body can't process those grams properly. It's like filling your car's tank with premium fuel but forgetting the spark plugs. You won't get very far. One mineral that quietly determines how well protein is absorbed is magnesium. Most people know magnesium for its role in relaxing muscles or easing cramps, but few realize it's a cofactor in more than 300 enzymatic reactions, many of which break down and utilize protein. Without adequate magnesium, protein remains underutilized, leaving the body starved of building blocks for muscle repair. Research reveals that nearly 70% of adults over 60 are deficient in magnesium, largely due to processed foods, soil depletion, and certain medications like diuretics. Let me tell you about a patient of mine. Mrs. Evelyn, a 68-year-old retired schoolteacher. She came to me frustrated saying, "Doctor, I've been eating salmon yogurt and nuts every day, but I feel weaker and my legs cramp constantly at night." On examination, she had lost noticeable muscle around her thighs and arms despite her balanced diet. Blood work showed she was deficient in magnesium. Once we corrected this with supplements and magnesium-rich foods like pumpkin seeds and spinach, her cramps subsided, and within months she noticed a remarkable improvement in her energy and muscle tone. Evelyn's story highlights a painful reality. Without the right mineral support, protein is almost wasted. So here's the hidden danger. Seniors often blame themselves for weakness, thinking they're not eating enough protein, when in fact it's their mineral status that is sabotaging them. Imagine how disheartening it feels to follow all the dietary advice, grilled chicken, lentils, eggs, only to watch your muscles still shrink. That sense of helplessness is devastating, but it can be prevented. Now ask yourself, if magnesium plays such a critical role, what happens when another mineral, one that many seniors consume in excess, starts interfering with protein use instead of supporting it? The answer may surprise you, because the very mineral you thought was protecting your bones could quietly be blocking your muscles from getting stronger. When you hear the word magnesium, you might think of muscle relaxation, stress relief, or maybe even sleep support. But very few people realize that magnesium is the hidden key to unlocking protein absorption in the body, especially after 60. Without enough of this mineral, your muscles are left hungry, no matter how much protein you consume. Here's the mainstream fact: as we age, the body's efficiency in absorbing minerals declines. The stomach produces less acid, and the intestines lose some of their ability to draw nutrients from food. This is why seniors are more prone to deficiencies even when they believe they're eating a balanced diet. Combine this with a lifetime of medications, antacids, blood pressure pills, and diuretics, and magnesium stores are drained even faster. The frightening result is that nearly 7 out of 10 seniors are magnesium deficient, often without knowing it. Now let's go deeper into the less discussed science. Magnesium isn't just important, it's essential for the activation of enzymes that metabolize amino acids, the building blocks of protein. In plain terms, without magnesium, the protein you eat cannot be fully converted into muscle tissue. Instead of repairing cells and strengthening muscles, much of it is wasted. This silent sabotage means that even if you're eating chicken breast or tofu, the benefits may never reach your muscles. I'll share a story that still stays with me. Mr. Harold, 72, was a retired mechanic. He lived a simple life, eating oatmeal in the morning, chicken or fish for lunch, and vegetables for dinner. By all accounts, his diet was better than most men his age. Yet when he came to my clinic, he complained of severe fatigue, trembling hands, and constant leg weakness. "Doc," he told me, "I feel like my body is running on fumes. I don't get it, I eat well." His lab work revealed a magnesium deficiency so severe it was affecting his protein metabolism. We added foods rich in magnesium: almonds, pumpkin seeds, leafy greens, and introduced a carefully monitored supplement. Within weeks, Harold's energy improved. After 3 months, he was back to gardening, a hobby he had nearly abandoned because of weakness. His muscles began to regain strength, not because he suddenly ate more protein, but because the protein he was already eating finally had the support it needed. The tragedy is that countless seniors walk around in Harold's shoes believing weakness and frailty are just part of getting old. In reality, their body is missing a mineral that acts like a master key. Magnesium doesn't just help you absorb protein, it also regulates blood sugar, supports nerve function, and stabilizes heart rhythm. When levels are low, everything from muscles to the brain suffers quietly. So, here's the question I want you to reflect on. If a lack of magnesium can silently sabotage protein absorption, what happens when another mineral, calcium, which most seniors are told to take more of, starts interfering with the balance? Could it be that in trying to protect your bones, you might actually be weakening your muscles? For decades, seniors have been told one message loud and clear: take more calcium to protect your bones. You see it in commercials, hear it from doctors, and even find it plastered on milk cartons. But here's the unsettling truth: too much calcium, especially without balance, can backfire. Instead of strengthening your body, it may actually weaken your muscles by interfering with protein absorption. First, let's establish the mainstream fact. Calcium is undeniably essential for bone density and muscle contraction. Without it, bones become brittle and muscles lose their ability to contract effectively. This is why calcium deficiency is often associated with osteoporosis and frailty. But the problem isn't always too little calcium. Sometimes it's too much, or calcium taken in isolation without its partners like magnesium and vitamin D. Here's the lesser-known reality: excess calcium in the bloodstream can disrupt the delicate balance of other minerals. When calcium is disproportionately high, it competes with magnesium for absorption. And as you just learned in the last section, magnesium is crucial for breaking down and using protein. So while you may believe you're protecting your skeleton with that extra calcium supplement, you might actually be starving your muscles of the very protein they need to survive. This imbalance can have devastating effects. Let me share the story of Mrs. Lorraine, a 70-year-old widow who had been diligent about her health. "Doctor," she said during our first visit, "I've been taking calcium every day for years because I don't want to end up like my mother who broke her hip." Yet despite her commitment, Lorraine complained of constant muscle weakness, difficulty climbing stairs, and occasional chest tightness. Her diet was protein-rich, but her muscles weren't responding. When we looked at her blood work, the problem became clear. Her calcium levels were high, while magnesium and vitamin D were low. Essentially, her body was overloaded with calcium, which blocked proper protein utilization and even put stress on her cardiovascular system. After adjusting her supplement routine, reducing calcium, boosting magnesium, and adding vitamin D, her muscle strength improved within months. Most importantly, her fatigue lifted and she felt more balanced and energetic. This case isn't unique. Many seniors unknowingly overload on calcium because they fear fractures, not realizing that bones and muscles work as a team. If the minerals that help protein absorption are missing, calcium alone cannot protect you. In fact, excess calcium can lead to calcification in blood vessels, kidney stones, and muscle weakness, the very conditions seniors are trying to avoid. So, the lesson is this: balance matters more than excess. Calcium without magnesium and vitamin D is like building a house with bricks but no mortar. You may stack them up high, but without the binding force, the entire structure crumbles. Now think about this carefully. If calcium can silently block protein absorption when taken in excess, What happens when another mineral, zinc, is missing altogether? Zinc is tiny in quantity, but mighty in function, and without it, your body's ability to heal, repair, and use protein collapses. Could this be the hidden reason why your cuts take longer to heal, or why your body feels slow to recover? Let's find out in the next section. When people think of zinc, they often associate it with immune support, like zinc lozenges for colds. But the truth is, zinc does far more than fight infections. It is one of the most critical minerals for protein utilization and tissue repair. Without it, the protein you eat cannot be properly converted into the enzymes, hormones, and structural tissues that your body depends on. Let's start with the mainstream fact. Zinc is essential for wound healing. Doctors know this well, which is why zinc creams are often prescribed for skin injuries and burns. But what many seniors don't realize is that zinc works internally too. It helps your cells replicate, rebuild, and recover after daily wear and tear. Without it, the body struggles to repair itself, leading to slower healing times, frequent infections, and ongoing weakness. Here's the deeper truth that often gets overlooked. Zinc is required for the function of over 300 enzymes, many directly involved in protein metabolism. Without zinc, your body cannot efficiently use amino acids to rebuild muscle fibers. In other words, you could be eating steak, eggs, or beans every day, but if zinc levels are low, those proteins remain underutilized, leaving your body frail and fatigued. Let me share the story of Mr. Raymond, a 66-year-old retired carpenter. Years of heavy lifting had left him with aches, but he prided himself on his strong diet, lean meats, dairy, and legumes. Yet when he visited me, he was deeply concerned. "Doctor, every little cut takes forever to heal," he said, showing me a small scratch on his arm that had lingered for weeks. He also complained of muscle weakness, despite eating more protein than most men his age. Tests revealed he was zinc deficient. This didn't surprise me. Seniors are at higher risk for zinc deficiency because absorption declines with age, and many common medications like acid reducers and blood pressure drugs interfere with zinc uptake. Once Mr. Raymond began supplementing with zinc and eating zinc-rich foods like pumpkin seeds, chickpeas, and beef in moderation, the results were remarkable. His wounds healed faster, his energy returned, and he finally felt that his protein-rich diet was paying off. This is the silent crisis many older adults face. They believe they are nourishing themselves well, but without zinc, the very foundation of healing is missing. Imagine trying to build a house with high-quality wood and steel, but no nails. That's exactly what a protein-rich diet without zinc looks like: good material with no way to bind it together. But zinc deficiency doesn't just weaken your healing. It also undermines your immune system, leaving you vulnerable to infections that can spiral into serious complications. For seniors, even a small infection can lead to hospitalization. And this danger often begins with something as invisible as a missing mineral. So let me leave you with this question. If zinc is the mineral that binds protein into healing and repair, what happens when your body is deprived of another critical mineral, iron, the one that allows protein to transport oxygen through your blood? Could this be why so many seniors complain of breathlessness, fatigue, and muscle weakness even when their diets seem full of protein? Think about the last time you felt out of breath climbing stairs or carrying groceries. Many seniors assume it's just age catching up, but often the real issue is hidden deep inside the blood iron deficiency. Without enough iron, your body cannot produce healthy hemoglobin, the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen. And here's where the problem ties directly to muscle health. Even if you're eating enough protein, without iron, your muscles never get the oxygen they need to use that protein for energy and repair. The mainstream fact is straightforward. Iron deficiency anemia is one of the most common nutritional problems among older adults, especially women over 60. It leads to fatigue, weakness, pale skin, and poor stamina. Doctors often see it as a blood issue, but the ripple effects are far greater. Muscles that don't receive oxygen cannot perform no matter how much protein you feed them. It's like trying to run an engine without enough air in the combustion chamber. It sputters and slows down. Now for the deeper, less discussed truth: iron doesn't just help transport oxygen. It also supports enzymes that break down amino acids. This means iron is doubly important for protein metabolism. Without it, the body cannot fully unlock the energy and repair potential hidden in the foods you eat. This is why seniors with iron deficiency often feel not only tired, but also achy and frail, as if their body is wasting away. Consider the case of Mrs. Daniels, a 74-year-old retired librarian. She came to my office exhausted, saying, "Doctor, even walking across my living room feels like running a marathon." She ate a diet rich in chicken beans and even protein shakes. Her daughter insisted she drink, but she still looked pale and frail. Blood tests revealed low hemoglobin and depleted iron stores. Once we carefully corrected her iron levels through diet, adding lean red meat, spinach and lentils, and a low-dose supplement. The change was dramatic. Within 2 months, she reported, "I finally have the strength to garden again." Her muscles, once starved of oxygen, now had the fuel they needed to thrive. But here's the catch too. Much iron can be dangerous, especially for seniors, leading to organ damage and oxidative stress. This is why balance is critical. The goal isn't to load up on iron blindly, but to ensure your body has just enough to carry protein's benefits into every cell. The tragedy is that many seniors suffer quietly, blaming their fatigue on just getting older when the real culprit is a mineral imbalance that could be corrected with the right guidance. So if iron is the oxygen carrier that allows protein to energize your muscles, what about another mineral that works like a shield, protecting protein from being destroyed by oxidative stress? This mineral is selenium, and without it, your protein can't do its job of repairing and rejuvenating cells. Could this be why so many seniors feel like their body is breaking down faster than it should? Let's explore this next. Imagine your muscles as a construction site. Protein supplies the bricks, iron delivers the oxygen workers need to keep building. But there's another element at play: protection. Every construction site needs guards to keep vandals from tearing it down. In your body, that guard is selenium. Without it, oxidative stress, tiny molecular vandals called free radicals, attack your cells, tearing down what protein is working so hard to build. Here's the mainstream fact. Selenium is a trace mineral required only in small amounts, yet it is critical for antioxidant defense. It forms part of enzymes like glutathione peroxidase, which neutralize harmful free radicals. Seniors are especially vulnerable because antioxidant defenses weaken naturally with age, while oxidative stress rises due to chronic inflammation, environmental toxins, and medication use. Without enough selenium, the delicate balance tips in favor of damage-accelerating aging at the cellular level. The lesser-known truth is that selenium doesn't just guard against oxidative stress, it also supports thyroid function, which in turn regulates metabolism and protein use. If selenium levels are low, your thyroid slows, leading to fatigue, weight gain, and poor protein utilization. In other words, selenium deficiency sabotages protein absorption from two sides. It allows damage to accumulate, and it weakens the system that governs protein metabolism. Let me share a real patient story. Mr. Allen, 69, a retired bus driver, came to me complaining of muscle soreness, brittle nails, and constant fatigue. "Doc, I eat chicken beans, even a bit of steak now and then, but I feel like I'm falling apart," he said with visible frustration. Blood tests revealed his selenium levels were well below normal. We adjusted his diet to include Brazil nuts, just 2 a day, can provide the daily selenium requirement, along with fish and eggs. Within months, Allen's energy improved, his muscles felt stronger, and his mood lifted. He later told me, "I didn't realize something so small could make such a big difference." The danger here is that selenium deficiency is often invisible until it causes significant damage. Unlike iron or zinc, which have clearer warning signs, selenium silently chips away at your body's defenses. Over time, proteins you consume can no longer keep up with the constant repair needs, leading to frailty, weakness, and even higher risks of chronic disease. Think of it this way. Eating enough protein without selenium is like building a house with bricks while vandals tear down the walls each night. No matter how much you build, you'll never get ahead. This is why seniors who neglect selenium often feel like they're aging faster than their peers. But here's where it gets even more interesting. While selenium shields your protein from destruction, another mineral, potassium, activates the muscle fibers that use that protein for strength. Without it, muscles cramp, falter, and lose coordination. Could the cramps in your calves or the weakness in your hands actually be a warning sign of low potassium? Let's dive into that next. Think back to a time when you were woken up in the middle of the night by a sudden painful leg cramp. You rubbed your calf, tried to stretch, but the tight knot wouldn't release. Many seniors dismiss this as a random nuisance or just part of getting older. But in truth, frequent cramps, weakness, or tremors can be a sign that your body is running low on potassium, a mineral absolutely vital for muscle activation and protein utilization. The mainstream medical fact is clear. Potassium is the primary mineral responsible for maintaining the electrical signals that allow muscles to contract and relax. Every single muscle movement, from lifting your arm to taking a step, depends on potassium working alongside sodium to create nerve impulses. Without it, muscles misfire, leading to cramps, weakness, and even irregular heartbeats. Seniors are especially vulnerable because kidney function gradually declines with age, altering the delicate potassium balance in the blood. Diuretic medications commonly prescribed for blood pressure or heart conditions also strip potassium from the body, further increasing the risk. Here's the deeper, less discussed truth. Potassium doesn't just prevent cramps, it also ensures that the protein you eat is effectively turned into muscle power. How? By regulating the transport of amino acids into cells. Think of potassium as the doorman that allows protein's building blocks to actually enter the muscle. Without it, protein remains in circulation but can't be used to build or repair tissue. This is why seniors with low potassium often feel fatigued and weak, even if they eat protein-rich meals. Consider the story of Mrs. Thompson, a 71-year-old former pianist. She came to me complaining that her hands cramped so badly she could no longer play the piano she loved. "Doctor, it's heartbreaking," she said. "I eat plenty of protein, but my fingers feel stiff and unresponsive." Her blood tests showed borderline low potassium, likely worsened by her blood pressure medication. We added potassium-rich foods like bananas, sweet potatoes, spinach, and beans into her diet and carefully monitored her levels. Within weeks, her cramps improved. After 2 months, she proudly told me she was back to practicing piano for an hour each day. This transformation highlights how overlooked potassium can be. Seniors often worry about protein intake, but forget that without potassium, the protein can't even be used. It's like stocking up on fuel but having no spark plugs in the engine. You'll never get the car to run. The tragedy is that potassium deficiency symptoms, fatigue, weakness, cramps, are often brushed off as normal aging. But they are not normal. They are warning signals. If ignored, low potassium can lead to far more dangerous consequences, including life-threatening heart rhythm problems. So, if potassium is the mineral that turns protein into action, activating your muscles and giving them strength, what happens when your body is missing? Yet another key player, one that works hand in hand with protein to maintain muscle and bone. That mineral is vitamin D, and without it, your protein intake becomes far less effective. Could this be the missing link that explains why so many seniors lose muscle despite eating well and staying active? When most people think of vitamin D, they think of sunlight and bone health. For decades, seniors have been told to get enough vitamin D to prevent fractures. But what often gets overlooked is that vitamin D is also a critical partner in protein metabolism. Without it, your muscles cannot properly use the protein you consume no matter how much chicken, fish, or beans you eat. Here's the mainstream fact. Vitamin D receptors are found in muscle tissue, not just in bones. When vitamin D levels are adequate, these receptors help muscles grow stronger, coordinate better, and recover more quickly. But as people age, their skin produces less vitamin D from sunlight, their kidneys activate less of it, and their diets often fail to make up the difference. This leaves a majority of seniors deficient, which directly contributes to muscle weakness, falls, and frailty. Now here's the deeper truth. Vitamin D doesn't just support muscles, it also regulates the expression of genes involved in protein synthesis. In simple terms, vitamin D acts like a switch that turns on the machinery inside your cells that converts protein into functional muscle tissue. Without it, even the best diet fails. Studies show that seniors with low vitamin D often experience a phenomenon called sarcopenia, accelerated muscle loss, even when their protein intake is sufficient. Let me share the story of Mr. Collins, a 73-year-old retired engineer. He was diligent about his diet, consuming eggs for breakfast, lean chicken for lunch, and beans or fish for dinner. Yet when he came to me, he was frustrated. "Doctor, I'm eating all the right foods, but I still feel weaker every month. I stumble when I walk, and I'm afraid of falling." Tests revealed his vitamin D levels were critically low. We started supplementation, and he made it a habit to take short daily walks in the morning sun. Within 3 months, his energy improved and his balance returned. He later told me, "I feel like my body finally responds to the food I eat." This story highlights how protein and vitamin D work in synergy. Protein provides the raw materials, but vitamin D flips the switch that allows your body to use them effectively. Without both, seniors are left vulnerable to weakness, falls, and a loss of independence. And here's something even more sobering. Vitamin D deficiency doesn't just weaken muscles. It also compromises immunity and increases the risk of chronic diseases like diabetes and heart problems. This means the consequences extend far beyond muscle loss. They affect nearly every aspect of senior health. So ask yourself if your body has been missing even one of these critical minerals and vitamins: magnesium, calcium balance, zinc, iron, selenium, potassium, or vitamin D. How many years of protein have been wasted? And more importantly, what can you do today to restore balance and finally let protein fuel your strength again? In the final section, I'll show you safe, practical strategies to restore these minerals so you can reclaim your vitality after 60. If you've stayed with me through this journey, you now see the bigger picture. Protein alone is not enough after 60. The very nutrients that once built your strength in youth no longer work the same way unless they are supported by a network of vital minerals. Magnesium, calcium in balance, zinc, iron, selenium, potassium, and vitamin D all form the invisible foundation that allows protein to do its job. Without them, protein becomes like bricks piled up at a construction site with no workers, no mortar, and no blueprint, useless and wasted. Let's pause and summarize. We began with the frightening reality that muscle weakness, frailty, and fatigue often strike seniors despite eating balanced, protein-rich meals. We then uncovered how magnesium deficiency silently blocks protein absorption, how excess calcium can interfere with balance, how zinc deficiencies delay healing, how iron carries oxygen that powers muscle, how selenium shields protein from oxidative damage, how potassium activates muscle contraction, and how vitamin D flips the genetic switch that allows protein to build strength. Together, these lessons reveal a single truth: aging changes not only how much protein you need, but how effectively your body can use it. But here's the hopeful part. This process is not irreversible. By restoring balance, you can reclaim your energy, protect your independence, and feel the strength returning to your body. Let's look at safe strategies to make this possible. First, focus on magnesium. Seniors should emphasize foods like pumpkin seeds, almonds, spinach, and avocados. For many, a supplement may be necessary, but it should be taken under medical guidance, especially if you're on medications. Second, calcium should never stand alone. If you are supplementing, pair it with vitamin D and magnesium. Avoid excessive doses that can block absorption or calcify arteries. Balance is the key. Third, don't forget zinc. Add foods like chickpeas, lentils, pumpkin seeds, or moderate amounts of beef. Zinc supplements are available, but dosing should remain conservative to avoid copper imbalance. Fourth, keep an eye on iron. Iron deficiency is common, but too much iron can be toxic. The safest path is to include iron-rich foods, lean red meat, beans, spinach, while checking blood levels regularly with your doctor before adding supplements. Fifth, include selenium-rich foods such as Brazil nuts, eggs, and fish. Even 2 Brazil nuts a day can provide enough selenium for most adults, making it one of the simplest dietary fixes. Sixth, maintain potassium intake with bananas, sweet potatoes, beans, and leafy greens. If you take diuretics, ask your doctor to monitor potassium closely. Both low and high levels can be dangerous. Finally, prioritize vitamin D. Spend short, safe periods in morning sunlight, eat fatty fish like salmon or sardines, and consider a supplement if your blood levels are low. To simplify, here are 5 safer alternative foods that work harmoniously with protein and are senior-friendly. Berries, rich in antioxidants, they protect protein from oxidative stress. Avocados, provide magnesium and potassium for muscle function. Pumpkin seeds, loaded with magnesium and zinc for absorption and repair. Sardines, contain vitamin D, calcium, and protein all in one. Lentils, supply protein, iron, and zinc in a plant-based form. And here are 3 actionable rules for daily living. Pair protein with minerals. Don't eat protein in isolation. Aim for variety. Rotate foods so you cover multiple nutrients. Get regular blood tests to catch deficiencies early before symptoms spiral into weakness and frailty. As we close, I want you to remember, aging is inevitable, but decline is not. With knowledge and careful choices, you can protect your muscles, extend your independence, and live with vitality well into your later years. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another senior health tip designed to keep you strong and informed. Take control of your health today, because your best years don't have to be behind you. They can still be ahead.